Hey there, how you all doing? Welcome to the show. This is the third episode of Damn-yaa and I'm Adamya, and in this episode we'll be talking about, or rather we'll be learning about something which is apparently very important in our lives for the proper functioning of our bodies, but it is also the most neglected and ignored feature of the human body. Before we get into the topic, I want to bring your attention to something which is very serious, and anyone who makes podcasts would relate to this. You know, there's a phase in an episode of a podcast which is the very awkward phase, and this is what I call pre and post jingle awkwardness. There's the intro music, and then you have to do all the bullshit. Like it has been 2 episodes I've done this, but I've realized that this is something I hate about podcasts, because the person who has clicked on the podcast already knows what I'm going to talk about. And then when the podcast starts, I again have to explain, create a segue and magically match it to the tone of the episode and then introduce the topic. I fucking hate it. So I'll be very straightforward today. Today, we'll be learning about sleep and also how to sleep. Okay? Yes. Today's topic is how to sleep. First thing, anyone who's listening to this episode of the podcast, and me included, I'd like to tell you guys that we have already lost the fundamentals of a human life. Because sleep, hunger and lust are some things that should come naturally to you. And people like me are not experiencing sleep naturally. Before getting into the question how to sleep, let's first discuss what are the things that might be causing your sleeplessness. So here are some common reasons I've figured out for my sleeplessness. One of them is content on the internet, memes. And I don't really need to explain this, but I'll still do it for the sake of this podcast. It's like a rule. I start looking at memes at 12 a.m. Then I realize at 3 a.m. that, I'm looking at memes, I should sleep. Then I look at memes why I'm not sleeping from 3 a.m. till 5 a.m. Then at 5 a.m. I fucking sleep. I fucked my sleep cycle. I fucked my sleep schedule. Either this is the reason, the content on the internet, or there's some opposite gender person I'm talking to. That takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. Then there's ambience, guys. The ambience that is created in the night after 11 p.m. is such a peaceful ambience, such a peaceful environment. I can think properly. If I'm snacking, I can snack properly. If I'm watching something, I can watch it properly. And if I'm reading a book or I'm reading an article, I can read that properly. No one is there to disturb me. And even right now, it's 1:41 a.m. in the night. And this is also a time I record all my podcasts at. After 11 p.m., I'm either reading, I'm either writing, I'm either recording these podcasts, or I'm looking at memes. Then, because also I do a lot of writing work, the vibes in the night are very writing friendly. If you have an idea, if you think of an idea in the day, you can actually work on that idea in the night. Then sometimes, this is one of the worst reasons I cannot sleep, and which is productivity anxiety. Some days I genuinely have nothing to do, but on those days post 11 p.m. my mind continuously goes on a spree to ask me, why are you not doing any work? I say to my mind, because I don't have anything, but my mind continuously forces me to do some work which is not even existent. So from 11 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the morning, I'll do nothing but just think why I'm not doing anything. This is basically known as productivity guilt or productivity anxiety. So yeah, productivity anxiety kicks in, then there's writing work, but then comes the biggest reason why I can't sleep. And it's very evident from the last episode that you listened to. If you did not listen to, go right now and listen to the second episode, which was Chai and Memories. And it is very evident from that episode that I drink a lot of chai. I drink a hell lot of chai. So in one day, I drink 4 cups of chai, which is not very healthy for my sleep cycle. I know. So I drink 4 cups of chai, then By the way, the last cup of tea that I have in the day is not really in the day, it's in the night. I have one in the morning, then one in the afternoon, one in the evening, and one at 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. It's very unhealthy, I know, but can't help it. I'm still drinking chai while making this podcast. When it's just think about it. It's 1:30 a.m. in the night, or maybe 2 in the night. There's no one. Everyone is asleep. There's a really nice, peaceful ambience created. You're watching a show. You will want to have something with it. So I have some chai, and then I complain for the whole night why I'm not able to sleep. After discussing this shit, let's just get to the final question. How to sleep? So I'll divide this question into 2 parts. One is the scientific methods. Then second is Adamya's methods, which are not very advisable to follow, but I'll still tell you. So science suggests the following ways to have a good night's sleep and a high quality sleep. So the first is avoid bright screens within 1 or 2 hours of your bedtime. I clearly do that every day. Second is don't consume caffeine within 7 hours of your bedtime. I literally consume caffeine 30 minutes before my bedtime. Then it says avoid big meals at night. Okay. And the last one is wind down and clear your head, which clearly every one of us is doing, and especially you who's listening to this podcast right now. Hai? These were the scientific methods, then there are my methods. Okay, I'll be very honest. All of the methods that I'm about to tell you, these are actually tried and tested, and this actually works for me. But all of them, except one, are very unhealthy. Super duper unhealthy. So the first is eating fats. Honestly, if I'm having a midnight snack, and if the midnight snack has a lot of fat in it, as soon as I eat it, I pass out. For example, one of my favorite midnight snacks is chai. Chai with 3 to 4 slices of bread dripped in butter. There's a lot of butter that I use. I should not be using it, I know, but it is how it is. As soon as I eat that with the chai, which is anti-sleep, I pass out. I want to pass out as soon as possible. So like eating fats makes my body very sleepy and makes my body want to go to sleep as soon as possible. Then using electronic devices in the dark. So this actually works for me. If I want to sleep, if I know that the next morning I have to wake up early, what I do is I switch off all the lights and then I use my phone for around 10-15 minutes. So by the end of 15 minutes, my eyes start to burn. And when my eyes start to burn, it's like a signal to me that, okay, keep the phone down. Your eyes are tired. Now go to sleep. So like, it's very contradicting to the scientific method that avoid bright screens within 1 or 2 hours of your bedtime. I literally stop staring at the screen 3 to 4 minutes before the bedtime. Not even 3 to 4 minutes, like 30-40 seconds before my bedtime. So like, yeah, this works with me. Then fourth is actually a useful method, and I've recommended this to my friends and they've actually liked it. It's an app. It's an app called Headspace. It has it basically teaches you meditation, and it also has sleep sounds. So you play it, then you set a timer that the sounds will go off in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. You play it, you keep it near your head, and it actually helps you calm down, wind down, clear your head, and you actually experience a good night's sleep. This one is healthy, unlike other things that I do to sleep. And the last one is correct your sleep cycle. These are some methods that I actually use, but yeah, these are all unhealthy, so you are free to ditch my advice. There's also a question I think about a lot of times, and especially when I go to sleep. And the question is how much you should sleep. And this happens with me. I don't know if other people do it also. Every night or every morning, because of the lockdown, I'm sleeping in the morning. Whenever I go to sleep, I always tend to count the number of hours of sleep that I'm about to get. I don't know if other people do it, but I do this every time I sleep. So yeah, this is something I do, and science says that you should get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day, but my body as of these days says that you should get 13 hours of sleep. There's something more that I figured out, that according to my theory, there are two best kind of sleeps. The first one is afternoon naps. Afternoon naps is like the best quality sleep, the best baby sleep. And if I love afternoon naps so much that if I go to sleep at 3 p.m. and I don't put an alarm or I don't ask anyone to wake me up, I literally wake up at 7 p.m. And when I wake up at 7 p.m., I'm like all fresh and my mind is working properly. And you can enjoy afternoon naps regardless of how much sleep you have had the last night. And the second kind of best sleep that, according to my theory, is existent in this universe is what I call the 5-minute more sleep, which happens to be experienced by you just 5 minutes before you wake up. When your mom comes into the room and you're sleeping and you're late for school, and then your mom says, please wake up, and you say, Mom, 5 minutes more. That 5 minutes more sleep is the second best, but one of the best sleeps you can ever experience in your human life. These were the things I figured out, and based on my limited knowledge, I've also answered the question how to sleep. Those are really fuck all ways, but they can actually work for you. I know you are sleepless. I know you're sleepless because you are listening to this podcast, and to further increase your sleeplessness, I have a movie suggestion for you that you can watch because you're not sleeping. You can watch The Walk by Robert Zemeckis starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Charlotte Bon, and after watching the movie, you can do one more thing for me. You can go follow me on Instagram @Adamya Pandey and on Twitter @Adamya Pandey with the extra Y in the end, and you can also follow the podcast on Instagram @the Damn-yaa podcast. And because you have listened to this podcast till the end, comment down, Guddu Tyagi, Beghairat hai. So I would know that you have listened to this podcast till the end. And on that beautiful note of Guddu Tyagi being Beghairat, I'd end the podcast here. क्या हो गया?
अरे माँ चुदी पर ही है, बता रहे हो करे